Hello and welcome back. I'm not saying what game I'm playing, you'll have to blindly guess. So yeah, welcome back to the Minecraft. Now this is a really cool new indie game that's out right now. You can get it on Minecraft.net. Sadly, Notch the Bastard couldn't chill out for a .com domain. I guess he thought .net was good enough. No, but seriously, look, no, I don't mean seriously like, haha, he couldn't chill out for .com. Fucking domains are stupidly expensive and evil, okay? I don't care. Get the cheapest, like, OVH domain you can. It's fine. Unless you're, like, making something hyper serious, then, okay, maybe you'll have to shell out a few more big bucks, but, you know. But yeah, generally speaking, I wanted to make a... There have been these videos that I've made that are mostly on tier lists that I've never uploaded or, like, edited down. Because I think about it and I'm just like, yeah, meh. And then I never touch them again. One of those videos is, I made, like, a tier list for video game consoles, right? But it was underrated and overrated. Or like fairly rated, and there were two tiers that were like, one of them was, you know, a system that I thought was fairly rated, and then there was another tier for systems that I felt were simultaneously overrated and underrated. But I feel like that doesn't, you know, that makes the, like, cardinal sin of having too many tiers. And then, like, it stops, like, you know, when you have 50 different tiers, it stops really being about the hot takes and starts being a lot more about, you know, just your general sort of opinions, TM. And I feel like that kind of cheapens the mood, because I really like the stupid hot takes. Like, that's the point. Hot takes are never meant to actually be educated. It was a radio thing. I know some of you may not know what a radio was. Because either A, you're watching this on some kind of futuristic device that, you know, is just, yeah. Or maybe you're watching this on some kind of VCR in the post-apocalypse, and, well, for one, who digitized these? I didn't give you the copyright. And for two, so there was this thing. I don't know how it works. It's magic. It's magic. If you power up a radio high enough, it'll glow visibly. Yeah, I'm back. It is one of the funniest sort of things I've seen recently happen online was this whole just in general, like, there's been an explosion of I feel like the kinds of, because, you know, it's like, okay, how do you know you're growing old when nothing you see is stuff you actually recognize? Like, obviously, you know, the Markiplier, I know who he is, I remember him, but then there are all of these just factory made guys, and it's like, who are these people? I just see them, and all they seemingly do is make live streams where they scream really loudly and, like, get into drama with other people, and it's like, people watch them. People watch other people whose entire internet personality, at least to me, seems to be screaming and arguing. And I don't get it. I'm gonna be the first to say it. I don't understand the appeal at all. Because what is there to see? What is there to be, you know? Am I entertained? No, I'm instead very visibly confused. Like, I can't even name any of them. That's the funny part. It's kind of like how you know, old Minecraft YouTubers had the names of, like, the Legend 27. Somebody's gonna get, like, whiplash from that reference. Or, like, you know, Joe Swanson 69, or, like... Well, okay, there's a reference I would make here with my friends, because it was, I can just say Lion Maker, and you'll understand, but, there was, I was searching for really old Minecraft Let's Plays, and I accidentally came across, like, the first Minecraft Let's Play Lion Maker incident that I think I've ever seen. And, it was just kind of supremely, like, whiplashy to come across something so, like, dark and disgusting when I was just searching for, like, Let's Play videos, because I was trying to see what builds other people were doing, so I could, you know, gain some inspiration. Because I can, like, build unique stuff, it's just that a lot of my style is influenced by more real life than any kind of Minecraft stuff. Which obviously means that, you know, when I'm trying to build stuff in Minecraft, a lot of it is, it's kind of hard to find stuff that is gonna, like, specifically fit in with the beta aesthetic, but I try. But yeah, it was just like, oh, why did I build that one like this? Okay, fuck it, then I'll construct this one over here. It was just, like, so fucking weird. But yeah, like, instead of being named something like that, they're named, like, Splotch and Zloop. And they have, like, 12 million subscribers. And they've already been in some kind of, you know, epic game. What? Oh my god. They've already been in some kind of, like, epic gamer controversy for, like, saying some words which they shouldn't have said. And then, you know, can you believe what Jlibjlub actually said? And it's like, you know, it's that sort of stuff, right? And then it's like, searching for a video which doesn't exist, and then it's, you know, I guess no, so searching for a world which doesn't exist, right? One of those ones where it's like, hey guys, I made my own ARG, but it's called a machinima. It's called I feel like it's, you know, Old Man Yells at Clouds, but, like, what you've made right there is a machinima with spooky elements. And it's okay. I don't think machinima owns the legal right to the term. I don't think so, at least. If it does, then you can always do the Austin Powers bit, where it looks like a machinima, but due to international copyright laws, it is not. Still, it has many elements that seem like it's a machinima, though it's not. And, you know, there you go, you legally clean. Nothing they can do about it. Yeah, remember when, like... Okay, back in the day, there was this whole thing on YouTube, right? Where, in order to get partnered, which is obviously piss easy today, it was kind of difficult. Some people are going to be surprised by the story, because it's something from years and years ago, right? But, you would basically have a really shitty time unless you knew, like, unless you were a part of this thing called a multi-channel network, which was, like, there's people who would claim to do the stuff for you and, like, split revenue with you. If you're wondering how long ago this was before the apocalypse. Back before, PewDiePie was responsible for every single YouTuber, not including me, because I don't monetize my stuff, but, like, for every single YouTuber who makes money off of YouTube, making less money than they previously would. obviously you could say, oh yeah, but advertisers were just looking for some kind of moral excuse in order to pay YouTube less. Yeah, but he still made those videos, and those videos still had a huge negative impact on the platform, so, like, chill. Okay, regardless of all of that, so back in the day when ad revenue was plentiful, you would have these multi-channel networks because it was a lot more difficult to just be partnered by yourself. So, like, they would sort of partner with you, and they would be pseudo-responsible for some stuff. Like, they could give you, like, legal guidance and legal protection from bullshit video claims, because those systems were a lot easier to abuse, I believe. But then there was the whole issue of, like, sometimes MCNs were too big, and there was too little communication, and sometimes they were just scamming you, like, not paying you out for the money that you were owed, hoping that you can't sue them because you don't have enough money. You know, because, you know, that's how the legal system works. It's designed for the rich, by the rich. But yeah, it's, one of those miserable old situations that don't really exist anymore. But yeah, so Machinima was one of those companies which, people had horror stories about. And there was this whole era, even before this on YouTube, where people would, because, like, there was a point in time when YouTube would try to recommend stuff, I think, in a way where it didn't really, like, I think YouTube tried to recommend stuff on a video-per-video basis, then channels played a larger role. You know, they keep trying to change the stuff because people try to game the algorithm, which isn't what YouTube wants. YouTube wants the most interesting content to be first, not the content which has, like, found this one trick, TM. You know, because that just brings in less revenue, less growth, etc. So yeah, you would have all of these videos, right, from on this one YouTube channel called Machinima. And YouTube, like, you know, smaller channels or, like, smaller creators would just have their videos uploaded there, so, like, often more people could see them. And it was this interesting thing because it only happened on, like, ancient YouTube and basically nowhere else. Yeah, okay, this is still going fine. But over here, you see, this is gonna be on sort of like on both sides, so I'll make this one 3 wide. But yeah, it's just kind of funny because Machinima was like, a relatively, like, interesting sort of era of YouTube. But what can you really do? Except look back and smile at how simple the problems were. When, like, you look at it now and the shit that's happening on YouTube and you, like, you know, can I have the Machinima back? You're probably still making more money with, like, MCNs screwing you than you do now with, you know, the current situation. Because, yeah, ad rates plummeted after the adpocalypse. That's why it was called the adpocalypse. That's also why Patreon exists now, right? Like, previously, you could subsist off of just ad revenue. These days, you would need, like, you would be, I mean, okay, technically, if you don't live in, like, if you live in, like, a relatively cheap area, you could probably subsist off of, like, 40k daily views, something like that. 50k daily views, I remember running the numbers once out of sheer curiosity, but that's still not a lot of money. So, you know, and also, like, you gotta remember that YouTube is, like, negative job security, so, you know, you gotta look at it from that perspective. You can't just look at YouTube as a, you know, strictly, you know, money-making platform, because, you know, it's not like a stable job. You could be making a stable amount of revenue on YouTube 1 month, and then something happens, and oops, uh, your job is gone. Good luck paying rent. And of course, you know, you're paying rent because everything is too expensive. But yeah, so that's kind of why these days things are different. But honestly, the big thing in all of this, in my humble opinion, is just that it's kind of funny, honestly, where, like, you know, back in the day, you don't know what you've lost until you can't have it anymore. And God, is that true for YouTube? God, I wish I was like yeah, God, I wish I was like 20 years 20 years older would suck, but like 20 years in the past, that'd be the money. Because I could just show up on YouTube in 2006 instead of 2020. Well, granted, you know, technically, but yeah, like, I could start doing YouTube in 2006 with all the knowledge that I have today and become mildly notable, because I'm pretty sure I'm not under some delusions that I could, you know, do this or do that, but like, shit, I need more food, and all of it's in the mansion 50 million miles away. Oops. But yeah, it's very much one of those things where I feel like even if I had all the knowledge and resources, things would still not be as simple as, you know, just making videos, because, you know, obviously, what mattered a lot was personality. Just knowing how YouTube sort of worked. And, like, in my case, because obviously, video games, knowing, like, what stuff will be big, knowing, how to record videos that don't make it look like it was made by Darkside Phil, all of this stuff. Wait, how did I make this one? Okay, like this. Like, all of this stuff will have an effect. Will have a positive effect, I hope. But, you know, none of it will really have an effect as big as just, like, you know, being charismatic back then. Because that was sort of the thing, right? I feel like a big thing would be, like, you could go back to, you know, back to the past to play the shitty games that suck ass. And, you could become, like, well, I don't want to say, like, the irate gamer of the time, but, like, you could definitely steal a decent chunk of, like, the angry reviewer shtick viewer base just by, you know, going back to the past with an understanding of, like, you know, the more modern sort of critique, the more modern sort of, like, how like, modern day critical videos are made, right? Because back in the day, people didn't know how to make a video where they were, you know, calling something bad, so they made videos where they called things pieces of shit for no reason. Like, oh yeah, you're probably imagining, like, the pissed off, angry video gamer, you know, and his colossal stature being like, you know, this is a piece of fucking shit. Why is this a piece of fucking shit? Because it doesn't even work. Some people are not gonna get the reference, and those who do get the reference are probably enjoying it. Okay, this one also has to be 3 wide. I'll go and correct it on the other side as well. But yeah, like, you could probably get away with quite a lot. You could probably make a video that was like, because there are a lot of these created these days, right? Who will do this kind of stuff, right? Where, like, you know, these days people are a lot more, let's call it, skeptical of bullshit. Back in the day, they weren't. I mean, even not too long ago. I mean, it is long ago now, but, like, there was that Steven Universe video that fundamentally misunderstood everything the series was about, and is still how people talk about the series, even if they do know the video is bullshit. But yeah, these days, with the way things are, I'll say I'm fine with the side pillars being not as thick. That's okay. But yeah, these days, with things being sort of as they are, I completely get why... Oh my... Wait, shit, hold on. Okay, that's a lot easier. I completely get, like, why people just kinda stop giving a shit about some of the old stuff. But, like, I don't know. A part of me feels like, back in the day, because there's this sort of understanding in my head, at least, right? That oftentimes, or basically always, not oftentimes, basically always, the past doesn't actually exist. Not in some kind of conspiratorial, like, but you didn't have to chat, not like that. I mean, like, in a way where what you see as the past is actually just your idealized version of what you would want the past to be. Or like, and it's idealized not in a necessarily positive sense. If you want to, like, if the argument that you believe in is that the past was much worse than it is today in some specific situation, sometimes you'll be correct. Oftentimes, the past is generally worse than the present. But then you have, like, a situation where, like, the world 10 years ago was a lot more livable than the world today, for most of us at least. So, it also depends on, the time frame. It depends on a lot of stuff. But yeah, the main thing that you gotta keep in mind is, like, basically the whole argument with this stuff, right? Where I feel like, there were some ways in which old YouTube... This is... Huh? Because there are some ways in which I feel... Wait, 5? Is this really... Yeah, that is actually 6. And I need to go and get some dirt for scaffolding again. But yeah, it's one of those things where, like, back in the day, YouTube as a platform felt, at the very least, less monetized. And, that does kind of... Because, in our heads... Because we live under capitalism, it's like, there's this idea that whenever something doesn't have a direct monetary profit incentive, that, the actual thing is automatically more worthy, Because, as we all know, whenever things are made for profit, they end up kind of shit. And whenever things are made for out of passion, well, they can still end up shit, but they can sometimes be something that you really like. Sadly, that's not how it works. That's not how it works at all. Whenever people discuss this, it's always one of those things where, it's, framed as an or, like, it's either one or the other. But, like, back when there was no money, there was still a currency. Or I guess back when making money off of YouTube wasn't a goal, there was still a currency, and you can probably, like, remember it. What was the idea, It's not, oh, I want to... start up a YouTube channel to make money. It's, I want to go viral. That was the thing everybody was talking about. Back before people thought of it as a side hustle, it was either a hobby somebody did, it was a lifestyle, and it was all with the goal of going viral. There were these, there were entire... By the way, I don't think I'm going to make this 6 blocks. I think I'm going to go make it 8, so it's a little bit taller. Because it's the central sort of place, so, I want to make it a bit higher up. Because this is the one that's going to be taller than the other ones. But yeah, it's one of those things where people were making... I mean, a lot of it was... And so, yeah. Because, back in the day, that was the whole thing, becoming popular when and I know it's like, you know, people today are like, ha, people being popular just for the sake of it, but it was cool and notable back then. You gotta remember, like, I know these days people don't really care about celebrity status, but like back in the day, you know, the idea of you being someone people would discuss was generally cool. Today it's like, dear God, you know? Oh no, the worst thing that could happen is somebody in real life asking you, like, hey, wait, I recognize your voice from somewhere. And it's like, oh God. Please let it be the YouTube channel and not the other venture. There is no other venture, but I think it's, you know, I think it's a, would be a funny bit. But yeah, it's like, oh dear God. It's funny how things have changed because, you know, back in the day, it was notable, it was cool. And then it slowly morphed from being cool to, you know, no thank you. And I know there are some people who take it, like, really well. And then there are other people who just want to have a hobby and don't want to deal with any of the pesky social parts of their social media hobby. And I'm one of those. That's kind of, like, you know, the worst thing that can happen to me is somebody recognizing me in a random server and acting like I'm some kind... Because every single time, it's sort of weird where people act like I'm some kind of whatever... Shit. I'm some kind of whatever when I just... welcome to the hobby where I play the video game. And that's sort of it. But sometimes, like, you know, it's I've seen people act like I don't know what, because one of your videos got 90k views. Yeah, like, okay. I'm well aware of that fact. Thanks. And it's not even like anyone in particular. It's just like, you know, well, whenever you get those kinds of comments, sometimes, like, you know, those kinds of people don't get that, like, you know, it's it's just a hobby. It's nothing special. And yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, you know, a small YouTuber things which everyone knows. Your first time getting recognized, it's like, you know, you hiding from someone figuratively, maybe literally, you know? Maybe if your biggest fan is Slender Man and he's cooking hot dogs on the stove. Yeah. Also, I have to say, like, yeah, back in the day, clickbait was funnier. Because these days, like, the only kind of clickbait is, like, ASMR slop. Today, the only kind of clickbait that exists is, like, that. But back in the day, it was old-timey clickbait is, like, you know, a horrifying Slenderman sighting in real life. You click on the video and it's like the funniest shit. So, like, you know, it is obviously clickbait. The Slenderman wasn't real, but it was fucking hilarious. I would make a I thought of a joke, but like the joke was very heavily referencing the Slenderman in real life incident. So I think it's not worth sharing, you know. Oh yeah, for those who don't know, there were like a pair of girls who were suffering from some kind of mental illness who went into the forest and tried stabbing their best friend to death. And nobody died, thankfully, and the girl made a full recovery. And then the girls were institutionalized because you do that after you tell people that you try to murder your best friend so that you could call for Slenderman. That's also when Slenderman kind of stopped being as popular. because, you know, I hope I don't have to spell it out for you why the incident made him less popular. But to me, life just won't be the same. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. For me, when I look at it, it's like, yeah, I don't blame people for not wanting to really associate that much or make content on someone. Like, it's not someone, but like, you know, something after that happens. Although there was a movie that was going to have some stuff relating to it, and then they recut and re-edited everything last minute after pleas from like the parents of the kid. And then the movie didn't have any like Slenderman in it. Like it had like only the half the movie was like nothing, and it sucked, and people didn't like it. So yeah, damned if you do, damned if you don't. But yeah, it's Slender Man, and he's cooking hot dogs on the stove. That'll never get old. But yeah, if you remember, if you know the bit, then you probably did. How's the back pain? I stole this bit from not the Slenderman one, the feel old yet, from a caster. But not a magic caster. He was a caster of something much more mundane called StarCraft. Ooh. Anyways, there's like, from everything that I've seen, right? I would have to postulate that, I don't think old YouTube was better. But I don't think new YouTube is... Because, like, you know, old YouTube had very much this sort of vibe of everything sort of being DIY. Any big company which tried to do stuff on YouTube only really found success by just kind of re-uploading the things that they normally put out in, like, official means. And the only reason they found success is because they were uploading stuff for free on YouTube. So people watched it. And that's kind of the thing, you know? That's sort of what became of, you know, professional media on YouTube, while, you know, amateurs like James Rolfe, or even more amateur people, like, you know, the pissed off angry video gamer, that was sorta what people watched back then. And, you know, the thing is, you know, every single time on YouTube, whenever there's been something that was like a winning thing, people always complained about it. You know, Let's Plays are like a fundamental... Like, whenever people think about Let's Plays, they think about, oh yeah, the thing people did back in the good old days, and now it's all, like, moved to streaming. But, like... Dude, Let's Plays were originally hated because it was seen as something that's really simple and easy to do, which... I mean, yeah. But yeah, you know, back in the day, people were looking at it in a sort of like, you know... Because there was a 10-minute video limit, so while, like, someone could make a 10-minute review of like, some older game, like Final Fantasy VII, you know, Joe Schmo could upload, like, 15 10-minute episodes. And 15 10-minute episodes sounds like a lot until you realize that's 2 and something hours of footage. Which, yeah, is problematic. The only way you could get past this in the early days was to get partnered. But early on, you know, YouTube was very concerned about partnering with Let's Players back before it just became a part of YouTube. And obviously, you know, by the time I feel that, like, I may be getting, like, the dates a little bit off, but, like, basically around the same time that Let's Playing became something that you could partner with. Oh, shit. But I'm gonna have to go all the way back and, like, eat food. Oops. But yeah, I'm gonna finish this, then I'll end the episode, then I'll go and get some food and come back. But yeah. There was that sort of thing, right? Where back in the day, you know, you would get monetized. You would get monetized or whatever, finally, so you can upload longer videos. But yeah, that's the only way to get past the video limit. And, that was a thing which obviously then got removed, because I think in, like, 2010, 2011, they first increased the limit to 15 minutes, and then I think if you verified it with your phone number, then you can make it for as long as you want. Which still works the same way today. Except, some phone numbers no longer work. At all. They'll error out. The solution, get a different provider. Yeah. It's a Google thing. They hate you. Anyways, yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. And then the Markiplier music plays, and he says, bye-bye, but I already did this bit, so it's not as funny. Bye-bye.